Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and yes, you have read the title. It is time for another Not List, hosted by yours truly, Jules Gill, here on What Culture's main channel. And today is basically a double dose of dick punching for yours truly, because it's combining two of my favourite things into something that pokes me into the bloody eye. That being video games and cinema. This is a very apt gesture, I feel, for today's video. Can we even show this, Joe? I mean, is this going to have to be edited out?
I don't even have a gag to go with this, so...
Just work your magic around that. But still, on paper, a video game movie adaptation should be something that producers and directors can just basically craft out in half a day and then laugh their way to the bureau de change. Because you're basically taking a beloved IP, slapping some high-named actors to it, and they're this perfect storm of money and praise, right? Well, the problem is that you usually get people to direct these who have either no understanding of the source material whatsoever or have an attitude of, I can do better than these nerds. And trust me, mate, you can't. So with this in mind, I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these video game movie adaptations suck. Right, so when I say terrible Street Fighter movies, you're probably going to be expecting me to talk about Street Fighter the movie, but I've got a bit of a secret here for you. Come closer. Come a bit closer. A little bit closer, actually. Oh, actually, just back off a little bit there. You've forgotten to brush this morning, clearly, haven't you, mate? Because I actually unashamedly love the Street Fighter the movie. I don't know why. Actually, yes, I do, and here's why. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still a very, very bad film, complete with enough ropey dialogue to hang yourself with and visuals that are as ugly as a newborn baby. What? All newborn babies are really ugly. They're just like Benjamin Buttons with just giant anime eyes. What? Why am I weird for not liking them? However, what the film did get right was that it never took itself too seriously, always referencing the fact that Street Fighter as a concept is ludicrously over the top. Plus that absolute wedge of ham acting from the likes of Raul Julia as M. Bison, that is utter butter for my nutter friend. Yet while this film is a nice picnic in the park with your friends and family and a whole ton of cheese, here come the bees. Here come the bloody bees in the form of the Queen Bee herself, the legend of fucking Chun-Li. Why anyone thought that making an action movie with no idea how to direct action sequences was a good idea is utterly beyond me. Honestly, I've seen great Kali matches with more spark. But the abysmal miscasting really does drive home the fact that nobody gave a single toss about this project. Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas to play Vega? Well, you know what, my friend? He acts about as well as he plays drums. And lest we not forget, he doesn't play drums. If you want just one shot to sum up how god-awful this film is, then check out the club fight sequence, in which Chun-Li uses her famous spinning bird kick. Now in the games, this is a gravity-defying and jaw-dropping move that sees Chun-Li turn into a whirlwind of death. In the film, however, she shows everyone in the audience her granny panties, while missing each and every goon around her, and does so very slowly. Good job there, film. You only got everything wrong. DOA, Dead or Alive, a film so notorious they had to name it twice. Well, surely with a title like that, you can expect that this will stay very close and true to the core message of the franchise, right? Well, actually it does. It's just the same that the narrative of the fighting game is pretty shit. Yeah, the story of these games had never been their strong suit, and the only air quotes plot that most fans were watching for comes with jiggle physics. Seriously, this is one of the few times where following the exact lines of the main game is actually a detriment, as a fighting tournament with a shadowy figure at the top of it has been done to death, and DOA brings nothing new to the table. And weirdly, for a film that has so much action in it, it feels utterly sparse and bereft of direction. The plot just kind of ambles on at its own pace, and you start to realise that the action scenes, while being nice to look at, are literally there just to pad out the runtime. Have you ever come across another action film that does that? It's just like, okay guys, we've got 15 minutes before we can make this officially a movie. What we're going to do? I don't know, just have some guy... Yeah, okay, that's killed like 10 seconds. What are you going to do? love it. Plus, the acting is bad, like high school production of Grease bad. Like a high school production of Grease where the funding has been cut and the cast is going through puberty so their voices keep breaking midway through songs. You know when people say this is the type of film that you need to leave your brain at the door? Well, clearly this was a mantra that the actors themselves took because nobody is giving a single line of thought to anything that they are spouting out. Every one of these actors sound like they are delivering lines as if post-lobotomy. There's a ton of key jangling here and cuts every microsecond because clearly the director did not trust their audience's attention span. But by the end of things that you'll realise for all of these death throws, DOA was dead on arrival. Oh, that was a joke, guys. I actually made a pretty good joke. One and done. Uwe Boll. Sorry, I actually meant to remember my lines, but I just completely forgot what I had to say because uttering this man's name is just like a curse, a plague on humanity. And the thing is that I know this is actually not on the script here, Joe. You can feel free to put this in or not. I don't really mind. I know he's got a habit of really, really taking down his critics, right? So I imagine that if he ever saw this film, he'd put out one of his many, many hit videos of him just saying, "F you." Well, you know what, mate? This is a preemptive one. F you. Stay the f away from my video game IPs, you cunt. Feel free to put that in. What's he gonna do? Blackball us? Uwe Boll. Time to talk about you cheeky little whippet. Right, so if uttering this man's name has sent a tingle down your spine, then congratulations, you have seen one of his many, many video game adaptations and are rightly aware of how terrible a director this man is. But if you, for some reason, haven't been sent into a state of catatonic fear, then my friend, stay that way. Leave this video, go out and enjoy the rest of your life, because this man is to directing video game adaptations as Uwe Boll is to directing video game adaptations. I know that I've compared himself to himself, but he's seriously that bad. Far Cry, House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark 1 and 2, Blood Rain 1, 2 and 3, and even a Postal film, all directed and ruined by a man who wiped his ball ox all over the blank page and called it a script. It would be impossible to list the litany of things wrong with each of these disasters, but the common threads between them all are ludicrous cuts that attempt to mask terrible action scenes but end up breaking even the most basic cinematic conventions. 180-degree rule, what the hell's that? And acting that is so stiff that it's as if rigor mortis auditioned for the bloody role. Now, some of the actors here admittedly know what type of film they're in and ham things up to charcuterie levels, my friend, and it is its own way of absolute bliss, but you have to feel bad for some of the actors here who thought that this was going to be their big break. This was going to be the winner for them. You just have to feel sorry for them because there is nothing going on here. In fact, the only break that's going on is the huge tax break that Uwe Boll gets for making each and every one of them. And I've been looking forward to detailing this. You see, up until 2006, you could exploit a loophole in the German government movie funding scheme, which basically paid investors back in full, mitigating any and all risks, making the film all at the expense of the German taxpayer. This is why Boll churned out dud after dud, because he and his mates were actually making money from them despite their terrible box office performance. Ever since the loophole closed, surprise, surprise, his workload has dramatically reduced, and now he seems to only make documentaries about how much he hates all of his critics. What a nice guy, right? Remind me to punch him in the face if we ever meet. So what I'm about to say to you comes from a very real and very painful place. I hate with every single fibre of my goddamn being the Super Mario Brothers movie. Except Bob Hoskins, he is for always going to be a national treasure, but still, the rest of the movie can die in a fire. Now, when I was a kid and heard that there was going to be a Super Mario Brothers movie coming out, I've acted like this. It's beautiful! I actually needed these to see! Oh. But then, when it actually came out and I saw it, it was more like this. As the saints come marching in, Oh, as the saints come marching in. How could you take something as innocent and as pure as Super Mario and mess things up this badly? This should have been an absolute slam dunk for Nintendo, as not only was it their hottest property going, but it also wasn't even a series that was shackled by a complex narrative. You literally had Big Turtle kidnaps royalty and gets rescued by portly plumber. That was all you had to work with. You could have done anything else. So why did everything you do mess with the few things that mattered? This was a catastrophic cinematic failure that was actually so bad that Nintendo vowed to never make another video game movie ever again. And where to begin with this? Maybe the fact that nearly every character is so far removed from what fans knew about the franchise that it was less like a jarring moment and more like a teeth-shattering punch to the bloody face. It's like the producers took the ideas, the things that we knew and loved, and just inverted them. It was just kind of like, oh look, Goomba's got big head and tiny body. Why don't we give it tiny head and big body? We're true creative geniuses, we are. And then they just patted each other on the back so hard that they threw up over the script, and they were like, don't bother clearing it up. Just read between the puke, read between the carrots, that'll make coherent dialogue. The Mario and Luigi Mario scene caused me physical pain to remember, and may indeed be the words that I etch into the walls of my padded cell later on in life. And that scene at the club where the brothers change clothes only to not wear the iconic colours will be the moment that will fucking send me there. Now, I will admit, there are some stylistic choices that I do like about this film. For example, the tiny little bob-omb I thought was pretty cute, and I did enjoy the fact that they used machines to simulate the power-ups, because it would have actually been really weird to see somebody like jump on mid-air rather than use the machine, so I'm glad that they actually did that. But that's like saying, oh look, these stale Lucky Charms marshmallows are really tasty in this bowl of used needles that I'm eating them from, because it's still a painful experience to go through, and even when you do have those tiny little bits of goodness, they're still stale and completely unfulfilling. I am utterly thrilled that this film tanked so hard as to cancel the planned sequels, as this film had already killed our childhood innocence, and more of it would have likely killed our soul. And that's what jobs are for. Still, there is actually one ray of sunshine in this overtly stormy affair, and that is the knowledge that this makes it the second film that Nintendo owns containing Mario. And I know what you're probably saying to yourself, Jules, didn't you just state earlier on that Nintendo never made another video game movie? And you know what, my friends? You're right. But they actually do also own a Mario porn parody that they bought back in the day because they didn't want it being distributed around. So they actually own that. You're welcome. And there we go, my friends. That was another episode of These Things Suck, centering on these video game movie adaptations suck. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. And remember, at the end of the day, this is all just simulated anger. I don't want you going out there with hate in your hearts. I want you to be going out to love people, to love thy neighbor, and spread that joy with other people, because holding on to anger, it is a really, really draining experience. So use forgiveness, use compassion, use empathy wherever possible, and I promise you, you will live a healthier and happier life. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over at RetroJ with a 0 over on Twitter, or you can go to Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work. You take care of yourself, because remember, you're a massive ledge, all right? Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Peace.